Haiyeyeye baba yangu we, mama yangu we. Haiyeyeye dada yangu we, kaka yangu we. Dada we, jione mwenyewe.
What's up, family? Welcome to the Love Bravely podcast and Substack. My name is Matt Trey, and I'm really grateful to have you with us. Thank you for joining for this very first podcast episode. This episode features a reading of the first Love Bravely Substack article, which is called Love Bravely, an introduction. To check out more articles, music, and info, you can go to lovebravely.substack.com. And if you're inspired to become a supporter of this work, we invite you to join our Patreon community at patreon.com/lovebravely. This really is a community-supported project, and we thank you for your interest and all your support. Hope you enjoy. Love Bravely, an introduction. I once told KRS-One that I love him in front of a room of about 100 people. True story. I love you wasn't exactly the way I was planning on greeting one of my hip-hop heroes, but that's how it went down. Looking back, I'm realizing there are some things about this moment that feel worth sharing. I'll try to do that here. For those who aren't familiar with KRS-One, he's widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in rap music and hip-hop culture. Personally, he's been one of the most important artists in my life and in my own artistic development. KRS was originally the lead rapper of a legendary group called BDP, and as a kid, my older brother and I listened a lot to their tapes. Cassette tapes, that is, for those who might be a little younger. One of KRS's nicknames is the Teacher, and for us, he definitely was. His lyrics continually delved into highly relevant critical themes: racial and economic justice, Black American history, culture and identity, religion and spirituality, philosophy, politics, health and well-being, all delivered through masterfully crafted rhymes over super funky beats. I was around 10 or 11 when I started listening to BDP's music, and it was life-changing. My mind and heart were opened and deeply schooled. Within a year or two, I was writing my own rhymes. Fast forward 20-plus years, I'm standing in front of a packed room in a gallery space in mid-city LA, and KRS-One is standing just a few feet to my left. The event is being held by Street Poets, Inc., one of my home communities and an arts education nonprofit. We're gathered to present KRS with an award for his accomplishments as an artist and cultural leader. I was invited to co-host the event together with Street Poets colleagues, and I'm about to say a few words and present him with the honor. I'm nervous as hell. As I think about what to say, one of KRS's lyrics keeps coming into my mind, a lyric that impacted me a lot as a kid. The stereotype must be lost, that love and peace and knowledge is soft. As this lyric passed through my thoughts, I was trying to pay attention to what I really felt I needed to say. I realize now that this kind of inward listening was a practice I'd been developing, especially through songwriting and live performance. In my experience, this can be a challenging practice because sometimes what comes back as an answer, what I can sense needs to be said, is uncomfortable, vulnerable, or even potentially embarrassing. In this case, standing next to KRS, this was especially true because I had the feeling that the most authentic thing I could do is tell him I love him. Not what I was planning on and not what you imagine saying to your longtime idol when you first meet them, but I felt committed to being true, or as true as I could be, to what I felt, and being in his presence actually helped give me courage. So I spoke about the impact his music had in my life. Then I quoted his lyric, "The stereotype must be lost, that love and peace and knowledge is soft." I told him how much this line had stuck with me over the years, and I told him that I know it might sound strange, but the most honest thing I could say to him was, I love you. What happened after that wasn't embarrassing. It was powerful. Somehow the feeling was communicated that we both knew what I meant. I can't remember what either of us actually said, but it was like I said, I think you know what I mean. And he responded, I know exactly what you mean. There was something present we could both feel. It was what his lyric was pointing to, a strength, a force. And for a moment we stood together and acknowledged it. It's this strength, this presence that inspired this new project, Love Bravely. It's the experience of love as a force. In the next line of the same BDP song, Why Is That?, KRS goes on to tell us that putting this kind of force into action can be even stronger than war. I'm interested in learning how to be strong in this way. And in a time of so many different kinds of wars, this feels more critical than ever. That's what this project is about. I also know it isn't easy. In my own experience, I've seen how this force asks me to grow and learn. It often asks me to do things that may be uncomfortable, vulnerable, or risky in order to show up for something bigger. It asks me to focus more and more on how I can support the whole, the collective, even when this means I might not get what I personally want out of a situation. In a way, what I'm talking about could sound unusual. But more and more I'm connecting with folks who, like KRS that night, can feel the same thing. More and more I'm talking with people from all walks of life and all different parts of the world who are sensing this strength, feeling it, and feeling a strong call towards it. Many of us are feeling a need to deepen our relationship with this force of love, and we're sensing that somehow we need it to move forward, for our own health, for our relationships, and to meet the challenges of the world we're living in. This isn't an abstract idea, but actually a practical step. Like any skill or practice, when we give it our attention, time, and effort, it can grow and become more clear. It can take all kinds of forms and directions. Love Bravely is a new form this practice is taking in my life. My hope is that the words themselves, love and bravely, can be meaningful for others, and I know that they're also a reminder to me. The name is a way to remind myself to connect with the practice of listening inwardly, the same practice I connected with that night with KRS. It's also encouragement to be brave enough to stay true to what I hear when I listen. I know that many of us are working to find courage in many different ways in this time, and I'm grateful that I can start this project in connection with all of you. Thank you for joining us as we take this step. Yes, y'all. Thank you again for tuning in to this first episode of the Love Bravely podcast. If you're interested in continuing to join us in exploring these ideas, hearing more music, reading articles, connecting with projects, the best way to stay tuned is to subscribe on Substack. It's completely free. You can just go to lovebravely.substack.com, put in your email, and you'll start receiving all the Love Bravely content. There's a lot of new music and new projects on the way. And to support this work and help make it possible, we also invite you to join our Patreon community at patreon.com/lovebravely. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Sanjay Beats and my boy Mamba Asefa for this funky music. This is an instrumental version of a song called Zama Damu featuring Tanzanian singer-songwriter Ashimba. It's from the Paleface and Matre album Food for the Gods, and the original version of the song also features Micah 9 of the Almighty Freestyle Fellowship. We're so glad to have you all here vibing with the music and the podcast and starting this off with us. Thank you all. and we'll see you next time.